Alright, today we're going to focus on some quick 5-minute hairstyles that you can do like on the way to school or on the way to work. And we're just going to go ahead and get started. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to part these in 2 separate pieces. So go ahead and just middle part your hair and then part all the way down the back. So we have 2 even sections of hair. Go ahead and start French braiding all the way up near the front. You're going to start with a smaller section. This is the trick when you're doing a French or like a French Dutch braid. It's starting with a smaller section because it will become tighter as you go down, and that way you don't have to worry about like the front being loose and only like the braid starting like right here or something. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and French Dutch braid, and we're going to take like a section from the front and we're going to separate into 3 different parts, and we're going to be taking each side under the middle strand. It's always side under middle. And so you're just going to add hair to those pieces that you just put under and just keep Dutch braiding backwards from her front hairline, or your front hairline if you're doing this on yourself, and pulling tight every time because we don't really want the hair around it to be that loose. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and repeat this on the other side. And for these ends, we're going to kind of leave like the ends out, and it'll make it less braiding for you to do and make it a little bit easier for you to do in like a time crunch. And after I've massaged all of these braids a little bit out to kind of give it a little bit of fullness, a little bit of messiness, especially since she has layers, they're going to kind of pop out and it's going to kind of look like a little messier, kind of more bohemian look. And towards the end here, we're going to take this little black velvet ribbon, and we're going to tie it to hide these, or tie it above actually, tie it above these little hair bands that are holding this braid in place. And if you don't tie a bow in them, they look a little bit more classic and a little bit less like a little girl with pigtails. And you're going to repeat that on the other side. Alright, and for this look, we've already put on this headband, and you can use any sort of headband. I like using these big ones because it kind of covers up more of your hair but still gives you the look like you did a lot to it. And what you're going to do is you're going to part off your hair. You're going to take more of like this crown area right here, and you're just going to pin that up and out of the way. You're barely going to take any. This is more so for just adding a little flare at the end. Make a ponytail with the hair that's out and underneath this crown area. You're going to pull this until it forms like a little bun, and you can leave out this tail right here. And we're going to go ahead and just wrap that over real quick and fluff this out a little bit. And you're going to take a couple of hairpins and pin them. You can pin this little piece that we just folded over either underneath the headband so that it has a little bit more protection and won't pop out on you, or you can pin it maybe a little bit more visibly if you don't like your headband covering that up. I'm going to let this drop down a little bit. And now we're going to take this crown piece right here, and you're going to twist it right, and you're going to pin at the base just to give us a little bit of volume up at the crown. Pin it pretty securely there, because we don't want it moving at all. We're going to take this piece and we're going to wrap this around the bun in the opposite direction that this other section was. And we can kind of leave out these ends to just kind of give it a little bit of a messier effect. And go ahead and pin that in place as well. That is all. It's a very messy, kind of bohemian little, very loose updo. And if you don't like this hanging down like it is, if you like it to be a little bit more tucked up, maybe you are wearing a scarf that day, you can go ahead and just pin that up a little bit closer. And if you want to, you could just pin it right underneath this headband right here to the hair that's left out here below. And it will give it a little bit more of a foundation and help it stay in place if you've got a scarf that's constantly pressing against it. Alright y'all, so look, if you have like day old hair that you've already curled and it's kind of looking like maybe a little less curly than you wanted, or there's something, maybe like your hair gets like mine and it gets like a little frizzy on like day 2 or 3. Well, you can go ahead and try this little bohemian look. And what you're going to do is you're going to part off like way past the crown, more like leaving out the front hairline here. So if you have layered hair like she does, or if you have those kind of little tendrils that you like to let loose, you're going to section up this piece right here. And it's going to be their crown all the way up, almost to their front hairline. You're going to kind of leave that out. And you're going to take a hairband and twist it around and make a big loop like we did in the previous post. And what we're going to do is we're going to twist it, but I'm going to take certain pieces and I'm going to pin them so it gives it a really fluffy, messy bun kind of thing. Especially if your hair's already got that kind of day-old texture in it, it's going to look particularly messy. And this alone is already kind of like a 5-minute hairstyle because you already have like this really cute messy bun. But what we're going to continue to do is we're going to add a little bit more of a twist to it. We're going to section off, this is going to be behind the ear, and so you're going to section off a little strand. And if you're like me and you have a couple of like really fuzzy curls, which she does not have because her hair is satiny smooth, but we're going to go ahead and take these strands, and you can take like your more fuzzy strands if you want to, and we're going to make a really quick braid all the way down. You can do any braid that you want to. Fishtail and regular braids are probably going to be the prettiest, or a rope braid even added to this will look really pretty. But for right now we're just going to be doing a regular braid. And once I'm going to take a bobby pin, and I'm just going to kind of cross it over this end to kind of hold it in place because I don't want to rubber band it off because we're going to do something at the end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these edges of this and kind of pull them apart, being real messy with it. And we're just going to pull it apart and make it look super just drawn out, messy, like her braid's almost about to fall out. And we're just going to kind of give it this little textured look. And you can take just one strand or two, just pull it out, make it look really super lived in. And here at the bottom, this is good for those of you who hate those little bobby pins. You're going to take a comb and you're going to take these smaller teeth right here. And here at the very end, we're just going to brush up like we were teasing it, and that way it will hold this braid without even needing a rubber band or a hairband. Alright, for this look, this one is like a lot more like dressy. If you work in a salon like I do, then maybe you want to dress up your hairdo in a way for the day, especially if you're going to help out with like weddings or something. It can really look like you tried really super hard when you didn't. So what we're going to do, I saw this post on Instagram. I can't even remember who it was. If I find it again, I'll tag them below. But you take sections, and we're going to start off with this right side. And I've already pinned up a lot of her hair, but I'm going to let down just a small section over here on her right. And we're going to take this section down, and we're going to pin up the rest. And we're going to take this took down. And what we're going to do is we're going to twist it a couple times, and then I'm going to take a couple of bobby pins, and we're going to pin this, but before we pin it, I'm going to pull on it and pull out some of that texture and give it a lot more body. And I'm only pulling certain parts so that the strand itself is actually really tight, but it's still volumized. And we're going to pin this as kind of like the base and the start of our updo. Okay, and now there's the first twist. And what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to part off this almost in half, except kind of at a tilt, so that it's on her left side instead of her right. And we're going to pin the rest of this up again. I'm going to take this huge section that we just took, and I'm going to twist it just like we just did with the other one, and then I'm going to pull this apart too. Point, you can go ahead, if she's got any bangs, or if you have any layers that are still kind of falling out and you don't want them framing the face as much, you can go ahead and kind of pin this up with it and kind of tuck it in to this little roll and let it just, you could pull it through if you wanted to hide those ends, and that will give like a little face framing and a little bit of curls, and you can even recurl parts of it if it becomes a little bit too straight for you. Alright, and this top section, and we're going to pull it over here to the right, and we're going to twist it like we were before, and we're going to kind of twist it over to the right at first, and then we're going to lay it back over to the left, and we're going to pull this apart to kind of fill in that gap that we just made on the left side, and that'll give us a lot of really nice body. And you can even recurl a couple of the pieces after this to give it a little bit of a dressier look if you are doing this on 2-day-old hair.